Hi there, and welcome to this week's video from AKCP on the update of our test data center construction. I'm Nick Barraclough, President at AKCP, and we've been making a series of videos where we're showcasing the construction of our 1 megawatt test data center facility. So far, we've got the generator in place, we have our chiller in place, the first fix of electricals is ongoing, and we're starting to now construct our containment pod support structure. So in our data center, we've got several different setups, so we can showcase AKCP technologies being used in your particular data center environment, whether it be hot aisle or cold aisle containment, raised access floor, or a fan wall. In hall number 1, as we explored in some previous videos, we are building a steel structure which is going to support our overhead busbar power distribution, as well as the water pipes and our rooftop heat exchangers. So these containment rooftop heat exchangers will be pre-cooling or, depending on the outside air temperature, fully cooling the air as it leaves the hot aisle containment. This frees up some space so you're not using in-road AHUs, and it also allows it to act as a pre-cooler should you have a fan wall. The 3D that I'm displaying on the screen right now helps to explain this in more detail, and you can also check out our hot aisle containment video where we go in depth into this feature. So last week, we already installed our steel column base plates, and this week we're putting in all of the columns and the beams. Once these are done, we can then pour our concrete floor, and we can proceed then to installing the actual racks and containment and overhead power distribution bars. So let's go and take a look at how we've got those beams and columns installed this week. We're starting to hoist the girders and beams into position. So we set up a pulley system here so we can lift these up, get them standing upright, get them centered in the correct place on the base plates, and then they can be welded into position. We already have one that's up and welded. Now we're going to hoist this one up and get it into place. Before we weld it into position, we use our reference beams, which are going to be actually then put running horizontally between these girders to make sure that it's in the correct place before we actually weld it to the spot. Now we've got the other column in place. We're going to get our reference beam, put that in, and make sure that we get this in the correct horizontal location. Now we use the laser level to make sure that they are aligned and straight. Now this is all in position now, lined up with the laser. We can weld this onto the base plate, and then we repeat the process with all of the other vertical columns. We have 12 of them in total on all of the plates, and then we can put in the horizontal beams. So far, we've got 8 of the columns up. That's taken us 3 days, so we're a little over halfway. This column here still needs to be fully welded. So technically, we've got 7 fully assembled now, and we've got the 8th one, which is up and aligned and tack welded in place. Once this one's in, we'll get the rest done. Our aim is to have all of this finished within this week. So it's a bit of a tall order to finish it all. It takes a couple of hours per column. to properly align it and get it in place and welded. And then after all these columns are in, we still have all of the beams to put in place as well. So our aim anyway is to finish this within the week. Then we'll paint it with rust converter and then proper primer and finish coat before this is finalized. Here's our progress now on putting the steel structure up here. We're already beginning to put in the first cross beam up there. So the reason that we're putting that in before we finish off these columns is to get the support structure in to hoist these beams up there. The columns would be in the way. So we're going to get these cross beams up first, and then we'll finish these columns and we'll put these cross beams on as well. So our target was to finish all of this by today. Today's Friday, but it looks like probably it's going to slip by a day or so. It's taking a little bit longer than we expected to get all of this up, particularly hoisting them up there and getting them aligned. So once this is all up, we can then pour the concrete floor and begin putting in the bus bars that were just delivered today. So let's go and take a look at those. This is our overhead bus bar system. So this is what's going to be distributing the power to the various containment pods that we have inside of the data center. So we have a hot aisle containment pod, we have some cold aisle containment pods, as we can show different setups, as we've discussed in other videos. And powering those, we're going to be bringing all of the power in using this overhead bus bar distribution system. So they're effectively extruded aluminum channels that are hung from the ceiling, and onto those we have breakout boxes that have the plugs and connectors on them that we can then connect each individual rack, and the inside of there will have power metering and breakers, so we can also do PUE calculations and so on. Let's go and take a closer look at these. So this is one of the breakout boxes that inserts to the bus bar, which runs above the racks. So the bus bar is an extruded aluminum channel that carries the power, and this has a three-phase connection on it. This slots into the bus bar and stays in place above each one of the racks. It's got a built-in breaker and 3 outlets. Now there's actually a little mistake here. This has got 3-phase coming in with 3 single phases coming out, and what this should actually be is 3-phase in and 3-phase coming out, because we're actually going to be connecting into here in our data center some 3-phase fans and also our 3-phase heaters. So in the test data center, in order to generate the heat and to simulate the servers, to save money on buying many servers that are not going to really be doing anything, and also so we can generate more heat in a smaller space, we're using 9 kilowatt space heaters. So they're 3 phases, and we've got 3 of those, giving us 27 kilowatts per rack. So we actually need 3-phase connections on here. So these are going to have to be probably sent back and modified. But while that's being done, we can already begin installing the actual bus bar already, as these just slot in. So once they come back, we can slot those in and already connect up then the fans and the heaters to these. As well as the data center, we also have an area in the facility for making presentations, an office area, and monitoring room. So in that area, we are going to also need to cool. So we're going to be using this centrifugal fan that's just been delivered to blow the air into that part of the facility. So we'll have some duct work that's going to carry the cold air to the non-data center areas of the facility, cool those, and return warm air back to the fan, where there'll also be a heat exchanger which will be cooling the air, and that will be connected up to our chilled water system. We'll be doing some more videos in the coming weeks where we will be looking deeper into our cooling system and how exactly that works and what we're doing in our facility in order to make the cooling more efficient. Lots going on and lots of progress this week in the test data center construction, as you can see in the video there. I'm just going to give you a little insight now as to how we're actually putting this together so you can visualize what the end product will look like. So what you've seen being installed this week is the actual steel columns and beams, which are going to support those overhead heat exchangers. You can see in the 3D rendering on the screen right now exactly how this gets put together and how this structure relates to our hot aisle containment in hall number 1. So I hope you found this video useful and informative and that you're following along with our series. We're aiming to get out at least 1 video a week, sometimes 2, charting the progress of the construction of this 1 megawatt test data center facility. And after the construction is complete, we're going to be showcasing all of the AKCP products, doing tutorial videos on how to install and use AKCP technology in your data center. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all of our latest videos.